Back to the Future is 40 this year, and as the widely proclaimed poster child for modern time travel movies, I figured it'd be good to spend some time, see what it did there, talking about what fans love to bitch about the most, paradoxes. Time travel movies are the ultimate playground for geeks because there always is going to be some tiny detail for someone to push up their ill-fitting glasses and scream, actually. Now, Back to the Future, or B2DF, as the cool kids call it. Just kidding, cool kids don't call it that. Could you even imagine? Anyway, I'm just focusing on the first film. Yeah, I know, but like many sequels, the quality falls apart after the first copy, and I don't want to deal with any of that noise, so there you go. Oh, and if you have differing opinions, then get your own channel. Kidding, I love hearing from you, so comment away. Okay, a couple of ground rules. Now, I'm going to go with what I feel is the most credible time travel scenario, the fixed timeline with closed-loop possibilities. That means everything that has happened before has happened before, and any changes that happen always happened because they're part of the same circular timeline. To help you along, there's a couple of bandages that I'll apply to certain scrapes that the film encounters. You'll either love or hate them, depending on how pedantic you are. Also, I'm going to go in chronological order since that's how we experienced it in the movie. Anything that loops back, we'll just hit when we get there, okay? All right, and oh, by the way...
Get on with it! Yes, get on with it!
Right, now let's start with an Easter egg about the Twin Pines Mall. After Doc and Einstein demonstrate what the DeLorean can do, Doc's mortal coil gets shuffled off by the Libyans, more on that later, and Marty zips to the past, crashing into one of two pine trees back in 1955. When he returns to 1985, the mall's name has changed to the Lone Pine Mall. Cute. This is proof that you can change the present by changing the past. Now, decades later, theories abound that this proves a multiverse where every little change creates a whole new universe. I say bullshit. You know how big the universe is? Guys, seriously, a whole new universe? But you can still change things in the past using a newer and more popular bandage, the Mandela effect. You know how the Monopoly guy never had a monocle, but you swear he did? Yeah. I submit that someone went back in time, not Marty because he's fictional, but someone did, and they either inadvertently or deliberately changed that board game icon just to mess with us. And all instances of the Mandela effect are residuals of actual time travel.
Bullshit!
Fight me. So the Lone Pine Mall, caused by Marty. And as far as everyone in that timeline knows, it's always been that way. Anyone else who remembers otherwise says...
Excuse me.
Is just someone who is smart and beautiful, who remembers things a little differently, and then shrugs and says, who the hell cares what the mall was called in the first place? Okay, moving on. Next up, Goldie Wilson. He's the mayor running for re-election in 1985. Now, that idea never even occurred to Goldie until Marty mentions it 30 years earlier. This means Marty had to have traveled back in time, or there's no political career for my man Wilson. Later, Marty follows George and inadvertently saves him from becoming a speed bump, thus meeting Lorraine and falling in love, which causes the big bad of the whole movie. However, there's a critical detail here, and we'll come back to it in a bit. As you know, or I guess I'm assuming you know, because, dude, we've had a bunch of spoilers already, and you haven't seen the movie? Listen, if you haven't seen the movie yet, just go away, go watch it. What are you, the Marquis de Sade? Torture yourself much? Go watch the movie, come back. The video will still be here when you return. Okay, cool. Now that they're gone, okay, we will... Oh, hey, welcome back. See? We just had our own little time travel moment there. Cool. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Marty enlists Doc Brown to get...
Back to the future!
Before helping, Doc asks about tampering with the space-time continuum. This is where the photograph comes into the picture. They see Marty's older brother being erased from existence, and Doc takes this as proof of his theory. But at this point, Doc has no practical experience with time travel. Everything is still theoretical for him. He doesn't realize that critical detail that I mentioned earlier. What he calls the natural course of time already includes Mayor Goldie Wilson 30 years later, which means the world at the end of the film is the original timeline, and not just Goldie, the Lone Pine Mall too. It was always the Lone Pine Mall. If you look at all this from a certain point of view...
A certain point of view?
Doc has a lot of knowledge about time travel, and who knows how many times he's already jumped back and forth, because remember, once time travel is invented, it has always been invented. To drive that home, consider Marty. He has a past that both already and not already has happened, so he'll experience his own Mandela effects as time moves on, but the argument that erasing his parents and siblings and instantly blinking him out of existence the moment that he saved George from being a speed bump doesn't hold, because everything Marty and Doc did to restore the natural course of time worked, even though they hadn't done it yet. Because, and stick with me here, they already had. It was already done. It was never not done. That's how closed loops work. But, you say, first off, you said but. Secondly, here's where we bring in Schrodinger's cat. Now, if you're not familiar, it's a thought experiment. There's a cat in a box and a mechanism that has a 50-50 chance to release poison. When the box is sealed, no one knows if the cat's alive or dead until you open it. The whole point is to show how weird quantum physics gets, because something can exist in a state of superposition. No, that's not a sex thing. It's where something can both be and not be at the same time. We've learned recently that quantum behavior can actually exist in the real world too. I'll use Marty as an example. Okay, remember, time travel is real. Changes in the past aren't changes, they've always been that way. The Mandela effect is that feeling that something was different because it was, but it isn't anymore because it's always been the way it is now. Brain fried yet? Here, let me flip that egg over easy for you. The cat example shows how things can have changed and always have been that way. We just haven't experienced the change yet. Marty didn't know his parents were rich, the car wasn't wrecked, that his date with Jennifer was solid because Biff had polished up his dream truck real nice, because he hadn't experienced all that yet. Now, the enchantment under the sea dance. The Johnny Be Good situation is what's known as a bootstrap paradox, where you can't tell who created something because the future inspired the past and the past inspired the future. So, who wrote the song? Now, Marty clearly knows this song by heart because, being a musician himself, he can riff it off at a moment's notice. Later, Marvin Berry calls his cousin Chuck, and Chuck hears this new beat over the 1950s phone line from across the room. There is no way Chuck Berry heard all of this song, and especially not the beginning of it. So Chuck still had to write this song himself. Also, he didn't realize it until 3 years after that dance. So technically, they both wrote it. A cosmic collaboration. Later, and this one's really just a fun Easter egg, when Marty finishes, the crowd stands stunned. And that could be the creation of the 50s generation's disdain for 80s rock, which is hilarious because even that stuff seems tame by today's standards.
But you kids are gonna love it.
Let's talk about Marty's siblings and his disappearing hand during the performance. It's only a movie, but that's a cop-out. So I'm going to go with Einstein here. No, not that one. There, that's better. Time is relative. As George gets closer to smooching Lorraine, the film slows down. Tension builds like a rubber band stretched too far. Then, snap. The kiss lands, Marty wakes up, his siblings pop back into reality, reality reboots. That dark box with Schrodinger's cat has been slowly opening the whole time. Things were murky, chaotic, uncertain-like a river clogged with debris. When that kiss happens, the dam bursts. And the disappearing stuff? Just a physical reality struggling to hold itself together under all that temporal tension. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. But hey, it is just a movie. Anyway, George and Lorraine are back together like they always were. The question is, how do they not remember that boy who looks suspiciously like their son hooking them up? Quick, name every detail of somebody you met 30 years ago. I'll wait. No, I won't, because you can't. And even if you can remember some things, you're probably wrong about half of it. Human memory is garbage. Sure, some noodles are better than others, but even those can be, well, let's just say a little al dente. So Lorraine, George, Biff, Jennifer, Mayor Goldie, all of them. Terrible memories. Oh, maybe not that Principal Strickland. That guy. Oh, don't get me started. They're not going to remember some random kid who showed up for a week and then dipped. Unless your name's Oswald, you don't leave that kind of impression on someone's brain. What, too soon? All right, fine. Bad taste. I'll just go stand in the corner. Now, Doc remembers Marty just fine. Why? Because he's a time traveler. He always has been one since Word 1. He knows what the implications can be, and that's why he read that letter. Oh, and that letter, by the way, is 100% proof that all of this was the original timeline. Shift perspective to Doc Brown. He knew everything that happened because it already happened. His past included everything we see unfold in the movie. Nothing actually changed. Now, my favorite nitpick to illustrate this. How did Doc Brown get into the DeLorean when it was inside the truck? There's no room to open the door. How'd he get in there? Doc would have known exactly when Marty would appear and was probably the Doc who called Marty earlier in the movie to bring the camera. He simply drove up into the ramp seconds before Marty arrived. Einstein was just sitting there in the parking lot because Doc told him to sit. And Einstein's a good boy. And don't give me that, but Doc was testing everything for the first time noise. I said shift to Doc's perspective, not yours. Remember, Doc still has that time machine long after the movie ends. You think he didn't go zipping around afterwards? Please. But you might still be asking, what about me? Meaning you. Not me. Nobody cares about me. You saw the Twin Pines mall sign. Yeah, but not everything's about you, you know. You're the audience. You're outside looking in. If you try to interpret the movie in real-world terms, then you gotta remove yourself from the equation because you're not in that real world. This isn't Deadpool, you know. So I guess that about covers it. And listen, I would love to get into the other two movies as well, but I just don't have the time. If you want me to, though, let me know. I'm happy to drop some beer and bananas down the old Mr. Fusion and return for part 2 or 3. Until then. Great, good, bad, or ass-awful, every film deserves to be explored, so hop in and subscribe for more film reviews, commentaries, snacks, and all that good stuff on The High Road.